Good evening. This is Kajukenbo After Dark. I'm Senior Grandmaster Jimenez. Today's show is going to be about martial arts awards, past and present. Myself and some of the Grandmasters, we were talking about this, and some of the competitors. So I thought I'd make a kind of a short video. And again, this is just my opinion. This doesn't mean it's everybody's opinion. It's just my opinion. Uh, we're going to have a little talk on this issue. But before I go on, I want to give my condolences to the activist and the young lady that was murdered on the bus this last week or so. It's a senseless waste of life. But my heart and my prayers go out to both of you guys as families. And in the future, you might like this president, or you might like that president. Okay, great, that's your opinion. But it's not worth taking the life of somebody. Or the young lady on the bus that was senselessly murdered for no reason. So I'm not going to go on about that. I'm just going to say the Worldwide Kajukenbo Federation, myself, or prayers go out to you guys as family. And we'll see what happens. But anyway, we're going to talk about the past and present of the awards. Now, again, I'm going to say it one more time. This is just my opinion and some of the other people that I talked to. It's kind of like a fun little story, myself, when we first started competing in the 70s, myself and Grandmaster Willis, we were little kids and stuff. And the first thing we'd go to would be we'd come in the auditorium, of course, excited and everything. First thing we'd do, like typical, young kids, color belts, we'd run and look at the trophies. And they got these big old trophies, big old grand champion trophies. And you just be at awe looking at these trophies. Now I understand that a trophy is just like the icing of the cake when you take a first, second, or a third. It's just the icing of the cake because it's you competing, and even if you don't win, competing and stuff like that is just it's just you're trying. But when you do get the first, second, and third place, it means something to you, especially when you're a young kid when you're holding this big trophy. Like, for example, when I first won my first trophy, and it's only a third place trophy, I competed at the Captain Weber days that Ron Marchini threw. And I was only a kid and never competed before. And I took third place in the fighting division. And all I can remember coming home, I'm holding this trophy. It was about that big, probably about, I don't know, probably up close to 2 feet tall or whatever. And I remember going, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm holding this trophy, because I seen the trophies in the background on the stage and stuff, and it was such a thrill because holding this big trophy. The same thing with Grandmaster Willis, when he's won his trophies and stuff like that. When we were kids, it was exciting because that trophy meant something. You put it on the wall, and the next tournament had a different trophy, and it was all different kind of trophies. So if you look at the trophies, it'd be all like really fancy. There's blue or red, or next one would be brown or whatever, or green or whatever. But again, like I said, the first thing we did, we run and look at those trophies on the stage. So it meant something. And then, of course, the grand champions, they were 6 foot tall, and then later on down our line in our careers and stuff, we won grand champion, and you won the big trophies and stuff like that, and that was kind of really extra cool and stuff like that. No trophies, no tournaments back then through. Very seldom would give out a plaque or especially a medal. Like if you won the internationals, if you took a place, you got the wooden trophy and stuff. But it meant something because you're holding this big, black wooden trophy, that, you went to the biggest tournament in the world at that time, and at that time, like one of my fighting divisions, there was like 250 people in my division. That's how big it was. So what I've noticed in the future that's going on is I don't go to too many tournaments anymore. I very seldom go to any tournaments, but the ones that I did go in the past, I'm seeing in the divisions, there'd be like 3 people, 2 people, 1 person. Like one person, I'm not gonna mention his name because I don't want to embarrass him, but He's like, oh, I took 10 first places in Grand Champion. Well, there's nobody in your division. You just paid for the trophy. But you still got the trophies and stuff like that. Then I noticed, and I couldn't figure this out, why would they want to go from them beautiful trophies that really meant something to somebody to giving out a medal? Now, I'm a businessman. I understand that the medal probably costs $2 or $3 compared to probably $25, $30 for the trophy. I understand that. But when I was younger, and myself and Grandmaster Willis, I think the entry fee was like $7. And then I think Joe Myers raised it to $8.50, and we're like, $8.50? And it's kind of a funny thing about it now because these big old trophies, and Joe Myers had a habit of having the third and the second was kind of okay sized trophies, and the first was always big. So it's really cool if you took first place. But again, back then, there'd be tons and tons of people in the division. The tournaments would be packed solid with people. I mean, wall-to-wall people in there. My tournaments I threw was wall-to-wall people in there. So now I go to the tournament, well, not lately, but in the past, and I walk in there, I'm thinking, 10 people sitting over there, 3 people in that corner, 2 in this, and the stands are empty. I'm thinking to myself, okay, and then they're charging, $60 an event, and they give you out a $2, $3 medal. To be honest with you, I wouldn't want to compete. I mean, you pay $60 and you get a $2 medal or a $3 medal. So I think that has a lot to do with some of the tournaments being smaller, plus the economy, plus the entry fee, plus to come in the door and stuff like that. So you got a family of husband, wife, and you got 3 kids competing. Do the math. There's a lot of money there. So I think sometimes if you kind of like more invest in more of the awards and kind of like focus it on your flyers and stuff, showing what they're going to be, I think you might get a better turnout. I know the last 2 tournaments that were quite large was Fred Bell's tournament and Grandmaster Willis's a few years ago. They were both packed. Okay, and then but all the other ones that I've noticed, there's nobody there. I went to one years ago because they did this Hall of Fame thing over there, and I'm laughing. It is like 2 people in the division. Well, that's great. You're going out there competing and you're showing your form, you're showing your technique, you're showing your fighting things. But isn't it more better if you have to fight like 10 people to get to that first place than to fight one person and get first place? Or nobody there and you get first place and now you compete for Grand Champion. So I think maybe some of the promoters need to kind of like step back and take a really good look at that. The only thing I've noticed that they do is a lot of times is they give the boxing championship belt, a good one, not the crappy kind. Those are nice. That's I like that for the Grand Champions. That was sharp too. That I give them. But to pay $60 and get a little medal, I'd think about that. Like I said, it's times have changed from the 70s to the 2025s. Like I said, the internationals, when we used to go in the 70s, I mean, people that been around a long time knows how many people is in that tournament. It was the biggest tournament in the world at that time. I mean, just thousands and thousands and thousands of competitors competing. So when you won, you beat people. You actually won. It's like I said, and for myself, I always did better competing against a lot of people than if I did a less amount of people. But back then, like I said, in our less amount of people, usually there was 20 people and or higher. So it wasn't like 1 or 2. So, like I said, this is just my opinion. I talked to some of the competitors and stuff like that, and they agree. It's kind of silly. Business-wise, I can see why you're doing it, because, I mean, you guys still determined to make money. Let's not pull each other's chains. I mean, that's what it's there for. That's why I did it, and stuff like that. All of us did it. I mean, Ralph Castro's tournament used to be huge tournaments. I competed for grand champion on the stage in San Francisco Civic Auditorium. I mean, wall-to-wall people in the San Francisco Auditorium. I mean, the spotlight comes down and takes you up there. That's a martial arts tournament. Like I said, the internationals. Like I said, I went probably about 6 years ago, whatever. And I walked in thinking, oh, it's gonna be big. I walked in, I'm like, what the hell? There's only like 2 people in that division, 3 in that one guy standing over there. That's not the internationals, how it used to be. I'm not saying anything bad about the internationals. The guy that throws it now, I'm not nothing at all. It's just the times have changed, and he does give the wooden trophies out, but maybe a different color. But like I said, it's just a thought, and just keep in mind, because sometimes the little kids, they like this. I think I remember if it was Jeff Sue. I think I know his last name is Sue, but I can't remember his first name. He was a little guy. He used to always compete in the tournaments, and in the junior division, I always had a grand champion. And my grand champion was like, over 6 feet tall. And it was so funny because he was a little tiny guy. So when he won it, he couldn't pick it up. His dad had to come out in the middle of the auditorium and help him carry it out because it was so big. And his dad told me one time, he said, you know what, that big trophy, you know where it sits? He was a dentist. He goes, it sits in my lobby, in my waiting room in my dentist office. So like I said, you got that 6-foot trophy that you grand champion, or you had your medal like this. It's just a thought, and it's like I said, this is a fun video. I mean, I'm not making fun of nobody. It's just my thought and some of the other guys' thoughts. So, like I said, just sit back once in a while and maybe spend a couple extra dollars. And I do understand, because I'm a businessman, that if no one's showing up, and the trophies are, that expensive. But remember, you only have 3 trophies. Okay, so pretty much 2 people will cover them trophies. The rest is all profit. So just think about that. But again, I hope you guys have a good weekend. I haven't done a video for a while. I'm gonna get back on the flow a little bit. Having to take care of some business and stuff like that. I had to take care of up here in Tahoe. And I hope you guys have a blessed weekend up here and a safe weekend like always. We're doing some more interviews in the next couple weeks on Kajukenbo Live and Kajukenbo After Dark and Kajukenbo Nepali. We're going to do some videos. It's going to be pretty interesting videos. But like I said, the Kajukenbo After Dark, I try to stay away from the politics stuff. And so it's just kind of like a fun kind of like a show. So there's nobody slamming anybody or nothing like that, or any animosity. It's just something to kind of sit back and kind of go, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I remember that, and things like that. So again, this is Kajukenbo After Dark. I'm Senior Grandmaster Jimenez, and I bless you and have a safe holiday and a hot weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.